You hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right. I was talking. I had my microphone muted somehow. All right.
I
Well,
knew
we'll
it.
get cooking in just a minute. I gotta get my other piece launched up here. So all right, let's see. We got people's coming. There we go. Got folks coming in. We have Cindy, we have Daniela, we have Edgar, Robert, Roberto, Tiffany, and somebody labeled 17708803061. All right. Well, we're glad that you guys decided to join us. I'm sure we'll have some other folks coming. We had a bunch of folks registered. I know there's some things that are happening today. So we will get things cooking momentarily. I didn't realize I was still sharing out so that you could all see behind the scenes. That was nice. Roberto, how you doing, man?
I need to get my guitar in my.
That's my first guitar.
I can be cool.
The one that my parents gave me when I was, I think, 15 or 16 years old.
You play guitar?
I do.
Very
yeah,
nice.
we have a bunch of them now. Like that's an old Yamaha, and for anybody else that's on here that cares about guitars, usually the Yamaha tops, they go like this, but this one's tapered, and it was used when I got it, but it has a really nice, it's a nice back and has a sweet sound for about 2.5 weeks. When you replace the strings, it sounds as good as anything.
Yeah.
The other ones I got, well, I'm not even going to talk about it. Anyway, we will go ahead and get started. Alberto Lugo, how you doing, my man?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm good. I'm good. For everybody that's logging in, make sure you are letting us know where you're from. We're coming from Woodstock, and this character here is coming from where?
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. Yep. And we all feel so sorry for you.
I
know. It's terrible. We will, we got some handouts here, I think. That is not what I was looking for. That was the Zoom link to come here. Hold on, guys. I promise I'm going to get my act together. Get rid of that. Let me pause this screen so you don't have to see everything I'm doing. You got it, Zachary? That's not it. That's not all of it. We have the presentation too. So I've got it here. And that can go right there. You got the capability statement, and then you have the presentation. So we got that cooking. So as I mentioned earlier, we got my good friend Alberto Lugo. He is here from Puerto Rico. So I love this fact that we can do this just like this. I'll be your host today. I'm with GovBrief. Quick disclaimer: this event is not affiliated or endorsed by GSA or any other agencies, provided to you for informational purposes only. And this is so people from the government, we have some folks that are coming in. This participation is voluntary, and it's not an endorsement or commitment to purchase from any vendor, including Alberto, but you might be able to do that later. We'll talk about that. So, and if you would like to participate, you can chat, you can raise your hand, you can pop in the Q&A, let us know where you are coming from. We always like to know where you are. Like I said, I'm from Woodstock, Maryland. And I know we got our Puerto Rico man come here. So briefing controls, if you've been living under a rock and you have no idea, Alberto, how this works, you can go up the top and do the side-by-side and make us bigger or smaller. Real quick agenda, we'll give you a dose of who INVID is and some of the services and industries that they're involved in. But we're really here to talk about nearshore sourcing and the value of Puerto Rico, both to the United States government directly, as well as using nearshore folks in projects, right, Alberto?
That's correct. Yes.
And there's a lot of reasons, whether you're doing IT or not, right? It doesn't have to just be IT, but you guys are IT.
That's correct. Yes. There's a lot of value, and we're going to talk about that in a minute.
Yep. And we'll get you some additional resources. We want to welcome all the folks that have registered for the different agencies. We know there's a few here that that have joined us. We just always love to have you on our Gov Briefs and participate and let us know what we can do. So real quick, why are you here today? I am here today because I want to learn about nearshore outsourcing. Most people probably going to check that, but they may be a federal vendor and need qualified resources. They may be a federal buyer and need qualified resources, or my boss made me come. So while we're doing that, Alberto, tell us a little bit about you. I know you're a software engineer and been doing this for quite a while. Tell us a little bit about how you got started.
Yeah, I started coding in high school, so that's why we started this company a few years ago, 20 years ago.
20 years ago.
Almost 20 years ago. And I fell in love with computers. When I was in high school, I started programming. And then we started working with the banking industry here in Puerto Rico. And then a few years later, started outsourcing. And yeah, and I also, you put there, I love to kite surf. So I'm going to mention that as well.
Yeah. And we were just talking about this. So where were you 2 hours ago?
Yeah, so we had wind, and we haven't had wind in a few months. So I was fortunate enough to kite for half an hour this morning, not 2 hours ago, but a little bit more. And I'm back here to work.
That's right. And this is why there's a love-hate relationship between me and Alberto.
But I always say you can come here and we can meet during the
I know,
week.
man. And I want to. And then thinking COVID stuff started getting nuts. So with you, you have a lot of experience in delivering different levels of IT services. And I love your 60% repeat clients and 45% new clients. And you guys have been growing like crazy over the past couple of years, because since we started working together, right?
Yeah, we were fortunate enough to grow, almost duplicate our footprint in terms of resources or employees during the pandemic. I guess we were marketing to the federal government and to vendors in the US, and we got the chance to pitch to a few companies, and we've been working with them ever since. Mm-hmm. So yeah, 60% repeat clients, 45% new clients. Our workforce, it was 25 from last year, but in the pandemic, we grew almost double in size. We're almost 60 people in the team, 62. And we have a few open positions to keep growing the business. So we were being fortunate enough to grow during these crazy times.
Yep. And you guys are a leader, by the way.
Yeah. We just want to, this was changed last year. We just want to be recognized as the absolute leader in exporting services from Puerto Rico. Being from a small island, there's limited opportunities to code and to sell software. So we want to export those services to the US and other parts of the world. This is our leadership team. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but just the people behind the brand, the people that make things happen. And then we group our services in 4 or 5 different areas. We do enterprise software, we do mobile apps, we do web portals, intranets, and RPA, or robotic process automation. That's sideways. It's supposed to do robotic process automation. Yep. The industries we work the most with is local and state government. We're tapping into the federal market, public services, healthcare, financial, education, and communication. And let me say something before you move on. Mm-hmm. Being from a small island, you got to be a generalist. You have to work with different industries, because there's not a lot of banks. There's not a lot.
That's right.
Services. So you get to learn about different industries. So that gives us also an advantage, because we know the lingo in different industries and we know how to do different stuff in different industries. So that's also an advantage.
Yeah, I love it. And we're going to get into some of the unique qualifications of folks and how you're growing talent.
I mean, we've been an SBA 8A since 2016, MBE, DBE from the Department of Transportation. Also a National and Minority Supplier Development Council vendor. And then the most recent one that we always have in these briefings that we finally was the Hubzone that we finally got this year. We're also a Microsoft partner. And we were certified by California Supplier Clearinghouse. Yeah,
that is fantastic. And you got a couple of awards here. I'll brag on you a little bit because you continue to grow fast, and you got the Inc. 5,000. That's no small feat.
I think one of the most relevant ones for this briefing, it's the SBA 8A. We got the fastest growing company in our region, and that goes to show you that they recognize us as one of the fastest growing vendors. And then the Inc. 5,000 doing it back to back. We were almost at the 4,000 mark into 2020, and 2021 we dropped to 2,000 or something in the top of the crest. So we were fortunate enough to get that this year.
Yeah, it's hard to stay on there more than 2 years because their requirements for growth.
Let's see what happens this year. We're eager to.
Yep, you guys are cooking. So you guys are an agile shop. I know that, and this is how you do it, right?
This is how we do software. We use the agile and Scrum methodology to provide services. And this is how most of the companies are working. I know the federal government and most of the agencies are tapping into this methodology. But I always like to say that we can work in any kind of different varieties. We can add people to a team. And if they're working in waterfall model, we can emulate that with our team, or we can be part of a bigger team. But
Right.
we always like to mention this because this is our go-to strategy for creating software.
Got it. And you have some experience in the world of cloud and DevOps. We've done a couple briefings just on SharePoint alone, right?
Yeah, I don't want to go into too much details, but this is to give folks in the presentation just information on the platforms that we are more proficient with. If you don't see a platform here that you need, you can talk to us after the briefing, because we keep adding different technologies for different clients in the US. These are the tools that we use the most. You can keep going. I think I want to talk about the front end. We do a lot of Angular and React is being requested from our folks in the US, and TypeScript. So those are the most common use languages that we're using currently. And then at the back end, if you can forward to the next slide, we're using all these technologies. And one of the biggest one right now in the US, it's Java. But we also do a lot of Node.js, SQL, and .NET Core. So I just want to give you that information. Again, nothing that is not all the technologies we use, it's just the most proficient we are in. And this is for mobile application development again. If you want to talk to us a little bit about your specific needs after the briefing, you can definitely set a meeting with us.
All right, fantastic. So, and that kind of gives you the overview of INVID and how you guys got started. So I have where are you guys? Have you ever outsourced before? And if you did, where did you do it? Outsourced to US based companies, outsourced to Europe, Asia based companies, outsourced to nearshore, like Puerto Rico. That's what that means, right? Puerto Rico's nearshore. And we'll talk a little bit more about why it's nearshore, right?
That's correct. Yes.
Yep. And then never outsource. A lot of folks never outsource. Fantastic. Glad you guys decided to join us. That is really good news, don't you think?
I think it is, yes, because we're going to explain the difference between nearshore and the normal outsourcing.
Yep.
And you guys can decide if that's something that it's for you. It's not for every company, but some of the companies here, I guess they can benefit from our services.
You betcha. And Edgar Russell says, I was in Puerto Rico September 20th through the 30th, met with Jose Castro Segarra.
Yep, that's correct.
All right. While he was there, there you go.
I know Jose Segarra at the deck, and he's a great friend of mine, and he's one of the people that is trying to help Puerto Rico export more services and also bring companies to Puerto Rico so we can create more jobs.
And that's exactly what it's all about. So for those of you who don't know what nearshore means, take us through the process.
Yeah, so what's nearshore? So you can outsource people inside of the US. That's hiring folks maybe in your town or in different states. Then you can outsource companies in Asia, which is offshore outsourcing. I can say Asia, Latin America, or far away from home. And then you can nearshore outsource, which means companies that are in the same area code, or not area code, but in the same time zone or
close.
That you can, and also proximity, that you can travel to the office in 6-8 hours or less. Most of the time to the East Coast, we're able to travel in just 4 to 5 hours to most of the areas in the East Coast. And we are EST +1 right now. So during the daylight savings, we're only 1 hour ahead. And then the rest of the year, we're in the same time zone of the East Coast. So that gives you another advantage. We're going to talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, we will do.
The main difference between nearshore, offshore, and inshore.
Yeah, there you go. I love it. Love it. So why Puerto Rico? And there's a whole lot of reasons why. And this is my favorite.
Yeah.
Yep. That's why. You want to know why? Because you got to go there and visit Alberto or whoever it is that you want to reach out to there. If you're doing business there, that's a tax write-off, ladies and gentlemen. Isn't that right, Alberto?
I'm going to say we have clients that have never visited us, but some of them like to schedule meetings around this time of the year.
Yes, those are your smart clients right there. All right, so
a little bit about why Puerto Rico, and we gather these different benefits in about 8 slides. So we're going to be very short and sweet, but you're going to understand all the benefits. So why Puerto Rico? Number one, a highly qualified workforce. So we have world-class software engineers, large integrated resource talent, and large public universities. And I want to say, when we go to hire people from college, like students, we are competing with Lockheed Martin, we are competing with Accenture, we are competing with the big 5 or big 6 companies in the US.
Yep.
That goes to show you why they come here, because they get great talent, and we also get great talent from these universities. So we have different agreements with all these college campuses on the island, so we can source talent right from the back.
Love it. And this is interesting because we know that it's even though it's absolutely gorgeous, it's actually less expensive to live there.
Yes, even with inflation, lower cost of doing business, we have a lower cost of living. The rents are lower for employees, and the wages are lower than most of the states in the US. We don't pay federal taxes. That's something that we pass that benefit to our clients. That's why you're going to see more cost-effective rate on the resources that if you source from the US. And then we also have a special tax bracket that we also share with our clients. And we also get some incentives to export services. And the US happens to be one of the jurisdictions that we can export to.
And that is really cool because that gives you a real good competitive advantage. Plus you have HubZone, which gives you, in the government, it gives you a little bit of a buffer too. Exactly. So this is interesting. And for those of us that have ever done outsourcing into another country, this can be a critical piece because regulations, laws, and things like that, but just the currency alone, don't you think? Because you use dollars.
We use US dollars, and we use the same banking system. So we have accounts in the US. We are regulated by the same agencies, or the banks are regulated by the same agencies. So that's something that is very important for some of our clients, that they don't have to either convert currency, or they don't have to deal with sending money out of the US.
Gotcha. And you already mentioned a little bit about tax incentives, but here's another one.
Yes, there's also a young professional tax bracket, people that stay on the island that are 28 or 26 years or less, they get a special tax bracket. So even if we don't pay as much as Lockheed, for example, we retain talent here in Puerto Rico because they have this special tax bracket, and they get to stay close to home.
Yep.
So this one is one of my favorites. Puerto Rico in the US, we understand US cultural dynamic. We are a territory of the US. We've been a territory for more than 100 years. So we understand cultural dynamics. Some of the times when we talk to clients, they have worked with companies as an offshore option, and sometimes they don't understand some of the cultural dynamics that are very important to develop some software or to understand a process. We abide by the same federal regulations, so you can protect your intellectual property, and you can also defend it in front of a federal judge. And that's also very important for some of our clients. They cannot create software outside of the US. They have to create it in the US. They cannot find the talent in their area. So they are tapping into our market to find these resources.
And this, I just want to throw in on this because when you're dealing with federal projects, we do a lot of work with the federal government and helping the government address issues, just different issues.
Yep.
And one of the challenges, especially now when everything is so tight with the labor market, is gaining access to the people that they, to your point, a lot of the programming and integration has to happen within the US.
So that's where we have been most successful in our last 6 months. Our companies that are working with the federal government and they have to create the software in the US, and they're looking for either talent, pricing, and a pool of talent for different technologies. Also, we have native Hispanics, so we are bilingual. Most of the people here talk perfect English and Spanish. And also, you can use the label made in the US when you do software or create anything on our jurisdiction. So that's also very important. And most of the clients that we're working with, they needed that made in the US label. So that's why we started conversations.
Yep. And that's important because, and that doesn't necessarily apply as much to you, but other non-IT textiles and other things like that. Very important with BAA compliance and the new BAA regulations it's increasing the amount of product that has to be manufactured or principally improved. So we're not really going to get into BAA compliance, but it does apply to that. So location, you mentioned this earlier, Eastern time zone.
It's always good to mention it again. Eastern time zone, we just only 1 hour ahead in daylight savings. 4-hour flight to DC, 2.5 hours to Miami. So you need to be in our office in half a day, or we need to be in your office in half a day. We can make it happen. We don't need a US passport to get in. So we just go in and get to your office quickly.
And just a reminder where your office is. Boom. So there you have it. I'll tell you what.
Also be in our office in 4 hours or less. Yes.
That's right. That's what I say. 4 hours or less from DC and other places. So, and you mentioned this, and I think this is really important. Why Puerto Rico? Protections under federal law, and I am going to have to edit
U.S.
this.
Intellectual property protection. You can defend your IP when you hire companies in Puerto Rico. U.S. legal and court system. It's the same system, and you can make your contracts abide by these regulations. Enforcement of all federal laws and regulation and IP law is the same law, so you can defend your intellectual property. I think that's those two that I mentioned, the one that has to be made in the US and the other one when we encounter with companies that don't have to do it in the US, but they want to defend their IP if something happens. You have heard the stories about these companies in other jurisdictions that created a software and they use it for something else. We have to abide by federal regulation, and that's also something that our clients nurture with our relationship.
This is critically important. I will tell you from being in that side of the house myself, is developing your products and outsourcing. And for those of us who have outsourced, you can get yourself in trouble just by the controls, because being so far away.
Yep.
And that you don't have the ability to if somebody is holding something that is supposed to be yours, or they release, like on HubSpot, for instance, it's HubSpot, right?
Yep.
Yeah, they'll release it on HubSpot. We had this as a problem, and we couldn't do anything about it because it was based in India. So not saying that comes with scruples, right? Being honest.
That's what I said at the beginning. This is not necessarily not for everybody, but it's just an option for people that are looking for these bullets or these protections.
Yep. And you mentioned this too.
We also mentioned this at the beginning. Sometimes you have to outsource either to a hub zone or to an 8A, or you want to partner with an 8A to bid on a contract. We also have those certifications, and we can do also veteran service disabled through partners. But we are 90% of the island is a hub zone. We are 8A, and we can definitely partner with some of you companies that need that certification in order to tap into a specific contract or contracting vehicle.
So the combination of these two things is what I really love, is that you have competitive rates because of where you're located, and because you can meet the socioeconomic requirements either for set asides directly, that's one way, but also in small business plans for larger companies that need to find qualified resources. It is a really cool combination.
Yeah, I want to say that some of the companies that we've been working with, they cannot find talent in their area. It's very difficult in technology. It's very difficult to find talent these days, and we're helping them grow their team. And that's why I explained at the beginning that we can do this, the whole software, or we can be part of a bigger team. So if you're looking for 5-6 people to tap into, so you can add to your team, we can definitely do that, and we are doing that successfully with our clients.
Yep. And you do that. So we already know about why Puerto Rico and the fact that it's gorgeous. But
yeah, this is a summary again. A highly qualified workforce, lower cost, location, made in the US label, attractive tax incentives, currency, protections under federal law, and certifications. And we always like to have this slide so you can get your PowerPoint downloaded and then discuss with your team and say, is this something I want to explore? Let me get a meeting with the INVID team or with Alberto so we can start the conversation. Sometimes we have had conversations with companies that didn't hire us right away, but we started the relationship. And a few months after that, the pandemic came, COVID came, and we started working right away. So something that we encourage you guys to keep get in touch with us so we can start the conversation.
Yep. And you've actually had folks that came as a result of briefings like this, where you get some exposure, which is always nice. I like that.
Why we do it.
Yeah. That's why you do it, for crying out loud. All right. So this is a short question. You want more information for Puerto Rico for IT or non-IT? Because guess what? You do live on an island.
Yeah.
But you know a lot of folks on the island that can help with non-IT as well, because you've helped refer people for textiles, for other manufacturing, right?
We did that. Yeah, I remember that guy, and we help him navigate through a vendor. The biggest companies that are making different uniforms for the federal government, for the army, and we put him in contact with this company so they could work together. But we are in IT, and most of the folks here in the survey are saying that they are looking for IT programming. I know there's a huge need for resources in these areas, so we're gonna put. I don't know if you have other slides, but we
got a couple. I just want to make sure we're answering questions. If anybody wants to answer that poll, I'm going to end that in about 10 seconds. But so here's a question. Will the presentation slides and recording of the presentation be made available? Edgar, you better believe it will. It's actually the presentation slides are bam right there as part of a note. It's three per slide, so that usually works out. If that doesn't work out, let me know.
You can also download our capability statement so you can get a little bit more information. But always say that if you want to get information on our projects, our past performance, quotes from clients that have been working with us, you can definitely visit our website, invidgroup.com, and you're going to get all that information, client quotes, information on different projects and the services that we talked about a little bit earlier.
That's cool. Yeah. Any other questions before we jump on to anything else? From folks, give me 1 second. I need to. Whoa. I messed up something behind the scenes here, and I'm trying. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. And here we go. I'll give you the access to this now. Oh, come on. What is going on? Zoom is not always my friend. All right, there you go. So now I mentioned earlier, if you are with the government, you are not obligated to buy from anybody. But if you would like to, DUNS number, cage code, GSA contract, 8A, hub zone. Now that it's not a purple unicorn. You're not quite a purple unicorn, Alberto.
We've been growing the business organically, and we're adding people to the team. So we're eager to work with any of the companies that are here. We know that most of them are vendors. So we have been working through vendors for quite a long time. So we can definitely know we add value, and we can definitely help you guys bring your software to the masses.
That's right. And if you need a partner, he's the guy. So Alberto, here's your information. You do answer the phone, number one. Number two, you do answer emails too. How do you like that?
Yeah, you can shoot us an email. We can set up a call. We can set aside a specific task requirement. If you have a specific project that you want to work with, or if you want to start a conversation because you want to have a partner for outsourcing services, add people to a team and whatnot, we can definitely chat and make that happen. So,
and I see Edgar is in Catonsville, Maryland, which is literally a stone's throw from us in comparison to where you are, Alberto. And that's a great place. Things are great in 21228, right? That's the bumper sticker that everybody has. Anyhow, glad that you guys decided to join us. I absolutely will make this presentation available. And if there's anything else you need, please do reach out to Alberto and his team. They are qualified individuals. I've known Alberto, I know what, 3 or 4 years now.
I think so, yeah. By the way, I'm going to be in DC in a few weeks, so I'm going to let you know so we can get together.
Awesome, man.
So I'm looking forward to it.
Well, that would be great. Well, I do appreciate it, man. It's always a pleasure. And I'm glad that you're going to get, maybe I'll be a house guest in the next month or two. As it gets colder, makes me want to get there.
Yep.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us.
February is the best time to come. It's full because everybody's escaping the cold.
Right, we're escaping the cold. All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you later.
All right. Take care.